to go live because we never know when it's really going to click in.
It's technology.
Okay.
I'm sure we're live. There we are. Okay. Oh.
Cool.
I'll call the meeting to order for April 1st. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's going on?
Apparently around here we take April Fools very seriously. I did not give myself that name tag or that nickname, but we're going to have fun with it today. Commissioner Rick Meyer. Thank you.
You're welcome. She can't always be the Debbie Downer. You gotta let her be that.
For anybody who hasn't, please sign in. It helps with the record keeping for the minutes. Is there any public comment? Any public comment online?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have public comment.
Sure, you do.
Very important. Okay, it's very important. Okay, little April Fool's Day history for everybody, okay? April Fool's Day, it's the most widely accepted explanation, traces back to the 16th century Europe. So in 1582, Pope Gregory the 13th introduced the Gregorian calendar. Before this change, many parts of Europe celebrated New Year's around late March with festivities, sometimes ending on April 1st. When New Year's Day officially moved to January 1st, some people either didn't know about the change or they refused to accept it. Those people were mocked as April Fools, and others played jokes on them, sending them on fake errands or giving them false invitations. So this turned April 1st into a day of devoted pranks. And with that, I have a couple important announcements.
Please.
Okay, so due to the commission meetings being a little bit slow, a little bit monotonous, really exciting for everyone, motions and seconds today will be made in song. Please sing your motions. I'm also excited to announce today's resolution. It's not on the agenda, but it's in support for the county mascot, and it's called the Bureaucratic Bulldog. And we're going to talk about that more a little bit later.
Look forward to it.
And she doesn't know it yet, she's coming, but Director Brown is going to do a presentation on the correlation between coffee intake and meeting length. She did provide me the graph, and strangely enough, coffee intake goes up the longer the meeting. It's crazy, but we'll let her do that later. And I almost forgot, and this one's for you, Positive Peggy, Chairman. There's also a tattoo shop in Helena offering discount tats for tots. Today only, so go get the kit inked. I can't remember which one, but I'm sure it's on social media somewhere. So, all right. Happy April, everybody.
I blame you for allowing public comment.
Yeah, it's part of the MCA. Sorry, guys. Does anybody have any other public comment? Do you have any public comment?
I do not. No.
I do, and mine is not April Fool's.
No.
Back to Debbie Downer. You've heard me talk about the fly-in, June 13th. The committee they've gone above and beyond. This started out as a little project event. You will see these flyers all over town starting next week. It's June 13th. Breakfast is going to be provided by the 4-H at 7 a.m. We're going to plaster this all over so you will know, but save that Saturday. This is turning into a really big thing. DNRC will be here with their aircraft, Forest Service, Billings Clinic, perhaps the governor will fly in. For a small airport, all of a sudden now our goal is to have the biggest fly-in in Montana for a small airport. So it's working with MDT and others, so it's going to be really exciting. On the flip side of that, talking about solid waste. There were some questions about this time of year leaves and branches being taken. So I'm going to read directly. When you go to any of the sites, plastic bags are preferred but not required for your grass clippings. Any more than 3 garbage cans full, we're asking that they bring it to the transfer station. This is the same quantities we have for construction waste, tree branches, etc. So you can take, they are not charging for grass, leaves, weeds, or pine needles. So at this time of year, it always gets confusing what you can do. And if you have any questions, call the Public Works Department or one of us if there's any issues. Any other public comment? Okay. First item on the agenda, Rocky Mountain Development Council requesting approval for 26-27 Community Service Block Grant Program Work Plan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to be on your agenda today. I'm Lori Lattis, and I'm the Executive Director at Rocky Mountain Development Council.
And I'm going to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. I forgot to, when you come to the microphone, please spell your last name.
You bet. It's Lattis, L-A-D-A-S. First name is L-O-R-I. And I'll allow Beth to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Beth Branham, B-R-A-N-A-M, and I'm the Deputy Director at Rocky.
We also brought our relatively new Area 4 Agency on Aging Director. His name is John Gorton, and John is right back here.
Gorton.
He came along for the ride, and he's kind of in learning mode and wanted to just be part of it today. So the first thing I'm going to do is give you an overview, sort of a reminder of what services Rocky offers in Lewis and Clark, Broadwater, and Jefferson counties. Rocky does run the Senior Nutrition and Transportation Program in Helena and some of the rural sites, Townsend in Broadwater County, Whitehall and Boulder in Jefferson County, and a couple of rural sites in Lewis and Clark County, Augusta and Lincoln. And that includes Meals on Wheels and congregate dining in senior centers. We do have some transportation. Right now it's kind of down because we lost our bus driver, but in Helena we do bring folks back and forth to the senior center and for meals. I wanted to report out just for fiscal year 25, which ended in June of 25. In Broadwater County, we served 10,943 meals. So that's between Meals on Wheels and the senior center meals. We also run volunteer programs, which include foster grandparents, senior companions, and retired and senior volunteers. As I mentioned, the Rocky Agency, Area 4 Agency on Aging, which is the pass-through grantor of the Older American Act funding that funds the meal programs in the 3 counties we serve, as well as three additional counties, Park, Gallatin, and Marr. They also have information and assistance and referral services for older adults, and they assist with Medicare and open enrollment. And they have a long-term care ombudsman program, which is an advocacy program for folks that live in assisted living and nursing homes. Rocky runs the energy services program in the 3 counties. That's LIHEAP, Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, Weatherization, and Energy Share. We have emergency solutions grant funding, which helps with rapid rehousing for folks that are homeless and homelessness prevention for folks that are at risk of being evicted. We run a Head Start program. We have a Head Start classroom here in Townsend. And we also have a preschool in Helena. And finally, we have affordable housing properties all around the Tri-County area, with 2 being here in Townsend, Townsend Homestead Manor and Townsend Housing, Inc. So I'm going to let Beth talk specifically about that Community Services Block Grant Work Plan.
Perfect. Thanks, Lori. So I'll just give you an overview, because as you can see, you got this ahead of time, and there's a lot of words in this document, but I'll just give you an overview. So at the top of each section, there's a goal, and the primary goal throughout is low-income individuals and families become more self-sufficient. There's a community goal later on as well. So I'm just going to give you an outline of what each section has in it, and then just quickly run through which sections there are. So there's a primary domain for each section. So this first one is education and youth development. And then under that, you'll see on each section there's going to be a key needs assessment findings, and that comes from our community needs assessment that we do. We have to do that every 3 years, and our most recent one was approved in November of 2025. So that's where that data and information comes from. And then there's a column that has the services or initiatives that we're providing. So under education and youth development, that's really Head Start, our preschool, and also our foster grandparent program. And then the next column has the outcomes that we project that we will achieve. And then there is a column for, it's the national performance indicators, which really ties to a annual report that we have to complete annually for the state, and just shows the connection to those. And then that description, and then the measurement, how we're measuring those things. Our next section is our housing section, which has, like Lori outlined, our properties as well as the emergency solutions grant as well. And energy services are also included in that, because having the weatherization program, things like that, help keep people safe and in their homes. And so that's a housing section, same goal for that one. And then the next one that has a lot of our programs reflected in it is health and nutrition, because that's a big part of what we do, especially through our senior programs. And so you'll see that in there. All of our volunteer programs, our AmeriCorps senior programs are in there. Our Agency on Aging is reflected in there, as well as the nutrition and transportation. The next one is civic engagement and community involvement, which really is reflecting our board of directors under that piece, as well as our volunteer programs and that engagement. And then they have pulled out now transportation, and so it's really just talking about service in that area, but just kind of breaking that down between what types of rides we're providing. We have a program under our RSVP that is called Go Getters, where they provide medical rides. That's in the Helena area. And so it just kind of is breaking that out in more detail of the types of rides. And then there's one that is delivery and access, and that's reflecting case management that's provided across programs, eligibility determinations, and referrals within Rocky and with our community partners as well. And then there is a organizational goal next, which is to maintain and improve our organizational capacity, effectiveness, and efficiency to achieve results. And that really, the stuff that's included under there is really what's required through CSBG and our org standards, which are things like keeping our fiscal policies up to date and that kind of stuff, doing that needs assessment and those pieces, and then ongoing training for our staff. And that is all the sections of our work plan. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
I don't have a question. I just want a comment. I'm on the board of Agency on Aging, and I appreciate everything that is done. It's amazing. I didn't understand that when I started, all the different layers, which you described. And so we try to help get the word out as best we can about the services. So thank you for everything. Your staff is amazing, and I'm very proud to be on that board. Any questions?
Oh, I appreciate how much information is in the work plan, and it's great to see you guys do a really good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, same for me. It's just having served on the board for Rocky for the last just over a year now. I've learned a lot, and you guys put in a ton of work from everything from little kids to seniors and everywhere in between. So it's very appreciated.
Thank you.
Do you need our signature somewhere? Or
What we need, the state refers to them as county
That's right.
sign-offs. Basically, it's just asking for your approval of our work plan. And so I don't know, I think you have to formally approve it,
Right.
and then we'll just need the letter, which you can sign later and email to me. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to take it with me today, whatever you prefer.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot about the letter. We have it ready to go.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the Community Services Block Grant Plan for Rocky?
I move to approve the Rocky Mountain Development Council request for approval of the 2026 to 2027 Community Services Block Grant Work Plan.
That was not singing your motion. Right now, I'm really disappointed. I will
Jesse, keep
second
making
that.
motions. You don't have to say.
I will second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the work plan. Is there any questions, any public comment? Anything online? Okay, seeing a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the work plan for Rocky signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Well, let's just get this signed right now, and we'll get it.
Thank you. Appreciate you all very
Thank you
much.
guys for coming.
Appreciate your service in Broadwater County as well.
Thank you. We'll get that letter to you. Email's okay?
That's perfectly
Okay.
fine, yep. Thank you. Thanks for allowing us to come.
And sorry about the little dings you're hearing. We're trying to figure out why. And, well, of course, today our IT people are gone, so.
No worries.
And John, good luck with your
Gee,
new
thanks.
venture. Yeah, you're welcome. That was not meant sarcastically at all, even though it is April Fool's Day.
They started that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
sorry.
you. We will close this part of the meeting, and we will open the public hearing to adopt the resolution for the budget amendments. All of these documents have been posted online for quite some time, so the public can view them. Debbie Kelly, do you want to start this?
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everyone. This is kind of our cleanup, one of our final steps for fiscal year 24-25. It is a requirement as we get our audit done to have a resolution to modify our original appropriations in our budget to what they actually might have been at the end of the year with changes in expenditures, revenues that were not originally budgeted for. This amends that to give us that budgeting authority for those expenditures and revenues. And the resolution is summarizing all the different funds, whether there was increases in totality or decreases, rather than each individual expenditure or revenue that came in. That is in the attachment if you want to see details. It's 9 pages long of numbers, whether it's an increase or a decrease. The resolution then takes that information and makes it a net effect of whether it was an increase or decrease of revenue or expenditures to that particular fund, based on those revenues and expenditures that were not originally accounted for. So this resolution for 24-25 expenditure and revenue budget amendments states, whereas Section 76-4006, subset 4, MCA states, the governing body may amend the budget during the fiscal year by conducting public hearings at regularly scheduled meetings. Budget amendments providing for additional appropriations must identify the fund reserves, unanticipated revenues, or previously unbudgeted revenue that will fund the appropriations. Whereas Section 76-4005 MCA states, in part, local government officials may not make up a disbursement or an expenditure or incur an obligation in excess of the total appropriations for specified fund. Whereas several unforeseen circumstances arose during the 24-25 fiscal year, and the expenditure and revenue line items need to be revised accordingly. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that Broadwater County is making the following required expenditure and revenue budget amendments effective for fiscal year end June 30th of 2025. Do you want me to go through the actual individual funds?
No.
I'm happy to bore everybody. But, yeah, and there again, there's several pages of those too, but all the details are attached with the amendments for any questions or ideas of what happened, where, and occurred. And then the detail tries to identify that spending authority based on a meeting or a journal or something that was done, gives the detail of where those were and how they were funded.
And
They
this
can-
is all online for people to see.
Yes,
under
that
our
was
agenda.
put out, it should be in the public information section.
It's
I
also
believe-
attached to our meeting.
Yeah.
Documents.
Yeah.
Any questions from the public? Any questions, any public comments? Any public comments? We will close, excuse me, the public hearing and open the regular meeting for Debbie Kelly to present the resolution, which she just did.
That I just did.
You don't need to do that again. This is our opportunity to ask any questions or comments that we would like, and again, we'll ask for public comment. We have had quite a while to review these. I didn't have any questions. It's very detailed tracking of finances within the county. So it's required, but we also appreciate doing that to let people know how the budget process went, what happened, where there were increases or decreases. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I didn't have any.
Is there a motion to approve the budget amendment?
I move to approve the fiscal year 24-25 expenditure and revenue budget amendments.
I will second that.
You didn't sing
Oh.
I was waiting.
Next time.
Yes, that was good.
There's a motion in a second. Any public comment at all? Any public comment? All those in favor of approving the 24-25 expenditure and revenue budget amendments signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
And I did bring a copy for signatures. Because I wasn't positive
Thank you.
It's good. We got it.
You got it.
with the attachment. Okay, just making sure.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Insurance Review Committee rate increase proposal. We discussed this last week, and we have spent a great deal of time reviewing this. The county, just like so many individuals and companies and other counties across Montana, have experienced a significant increase in health insurance. We do have very good health insurance, but and it's still reasonable when you compare it. And this year, we will have a committee looking at other healthcare options for other companies, do a deep dive into that to see if we can save money, but still hopefully offer the same very good services.
Which I think is really important because counties often can't keep up with the pay increases of private companies. So having a really good healthcare package is ideal.
It's critical.
And it's critical. Yeah.
In smaller counties like us. No, that's a very good point. As we said last week, the difference, and this is just for the April, May, and June, the difference, and then we'll deal with next year. But we have a $32,085 increase to deal with. We have looked at all kinds of formulas and charts and options, and I'm comfortable moving forward. Do you have any comments, questions? You guys have done a lot of research on this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's that $32,085 is the additional what we would be paying anyway for our premiums, and that is only for the rest of the fiscal year, so April, May, and June.
Yep.
We will have another discussion about what healthcare premiums look like for the next fiscal year. So that is all that's being considered today. I would agree with Commissioner Randolph. We put a lot of time into looking at how this can be funded, and we are good between our funding sources with PILT, with entitlement, and with any general fund balance. Plus you have balance in the GAP
Yes.
funding. So,
Yep.
so that is what we're looking at, and I'm comfortable with covering that increase for the 3 months.
It will be I'm sure, a longer discussion when we have to look at all of next fiscal year,
Yes.
the whole 12 months. We share part of the employees' pay, a portion of it. It's a small portion, but we also, as we've said, we perhaps don't pay as much as private business or other counties. We're surrounded by big counties, Gallatin and Lewis and Clark. We can't compare with those very well. So we will continue this conversation when we discuss our budget for next fiscal year. We have some real tough decisions to make on this. Do we have employees pay more? Does the county pay more? Do we split it? We're looking at all the options.
Well, and I think everybody knows the cost of things aren't exactly going down, so.
Yeah, but again, that's for another discussion, another agenda, another commission meeting. Is there a motion?
Go ahead, Jesse.
I would move to, not say.
Thank you.
I move to, trying to figure out how to word it. I move to have the county pick up the rate increase for the rest of the fiscal year for April, May, and June for the insurance rate increase
Would you please state the dollar?
in the amount of $32,085.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Gonna be a long day.
Oh,
in the
boy.
office. There's a motion and a second for the county to pick up the $32,085 difference for 3 months. Any public comment? Any questions? This is not an easy topic. And we will get back to it for the next year. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is discussion, decision, Elkhorn Vet Clinic septic and drain field replacement application and permit documentation. Can you get Kevin up there? Those are our folks on Teams with us today.
Morning, Commissioners. Can everybody hear me?
Perfectly.
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin.
Right. Yeah, thank you guys. So this item on the agenda is for discussion on the Elkhorn Veterinary Clinic floodplain permit application for replacement of an existing septic system and drain field. And I think, to begin, I think the best way to go through it is to go through the application administrative history, just kind of to detail how we got to this point. And I do detail that in the findings of fact, and I think the best way is kind of for me to kind of read it through and detail that mainly for the public if anybody there is interested, but I can go through that kind of line by line. So the applicant, which was the vet clinic, they contacted the Broadwater County contract sanitarian about replacing the existing septic system and drain field. And the sanitarian notified the applicant that due to being entirely in the floodplain, they would need a variance from the Board of Health to meet the setback regulations for having a septic system in the floodplain. And that's what kind of kicked off this whole process. And due to the nature of the system failing, the applicants requested an emergency authorization from myself as the contract floodplain administrator on December 15th to conduct the updated construction to the septic system and the drain field. And I granted that authorization for the emergency work on December 15th. And the stipulation with those emergency authorizations is that a full floodplain application needs to be submitted within 30 days after the authorization is granted. And so on December 18th, the applicant submitted a septic permit application to the county sanitarian. And then the Board of Health approved the variance for the floodplain setback for the replacement system on January 27th. And on January 29th, the applicant was notified by myself that the floodplain permit application that they had submitted was insufficient and I sent that out through an email. And on February 16th, the applicant resubmitted the application to address the deficient application materials, which I then deemed the application sufficient on March 1st of this year. Legal notice was posted in the MT 43 News on March 6th. Letters were sent out to adjacent property owners on March 3rd. Public comment period concluded on March 21st. I did not receive any public comments, and to my knowledge, no public comments were received by the county as well. The application package was sent to the DNRC regional engineers for technical review on March 4th. At the time of writing the report, I did not receive any comments. I did receive comments as of yesterday, and those comments, I can find them real quick, were stated by Perry Turk. The comments that we got back were that the applicant needed to address scour potential for the system, addressing that a check valve was installed for the system in regards to section 10.12.1 of the county floodplain ordinance, and the question of whether 10.2.7, which is the engineering certification for being able to withstand the 100-year floodplain ordinance, was addressed. And in my analysis, this was a total replacement, and no additional fill material was brought into the floodplain. So it was a one-for-one replacement. And so my analysis was that no scour analysis was going to be needed for this, because there was going to be no changes to the existing floodplain. Another analysis that was done is that the check valve requirement in the regulations, after discussing with the county sanitarian, would not be needed because septic systems don't typically have check valves, where check valves are usually going to be for pumped pressure systems to prevent backflow contamination, to avoid damage to pumps. This is a gravity flow system, and so there likely is not enough pressure to even open a check valve, and then solids from the system might damage said check valve. So in my analysis, I decided to waive that requirement. And then the actual system being a replacement, it was going to be placed 2 feet under the surface. And so my determination was that it would withstand the 100-year floodplain, or the 100-year flood event. And so after that, we do have a couple of conditions that were imposed that are pretty standard conditions, in that the project needs to conform to what they submitted, which, since the work is already done, that condition should be met. That any excavated materials would need to be stockpiled outside of the floodplain. That should also be met already. And then within 30 days after completion, they need to provide me with a compliance certification report. And so once we get this permit signed and delivered to the vet clinic, they'll have to provide me with that, showing that the project is completed per the specifications of the application. So that kind of generalizes the whole project, and be here to answer any other questions as they come up.
Thank you Kevin, for the detailed. This was as Kevin stated, emergency situation with complication because it's in a floodplain. So we appreciate Great West very much helping us through all these issues. This was unique. This is, since I've been here, I've not dealt with this before, so very grateful for you. Kevin, did you say you had not received any public comment?
I did not receive any public comments from any adjacent property owners.
And we did not either. Nope. I kind of expected some questions, and I didn't get even questions.
I don't think it's something people think about.
No,
very
but
much.
there was some equipment out there, and I was kind of keeping my eye on it because I knew about it, but I don't think anybody else cared about it or was concerned, at least.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a little bit of public comment, at least to use it as general outreach for the other floodplain properties in the area, but didn't receive any, so.
Okay.
unfortunately, there was no outreach done.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted, he may have already said this, but just to clarify, is Kevin with Great West Engineering for
Yes.
the public to know who is speaking? Because I wasn't sure if he was from Elkhorn Vet Clinic or,
Okay.
but he is from Great West?
Yes.
Okay. He might have said that, but.
Any questions for Kevin?
I didn't have any questions. Your report is very detailed, and I really appreciate all the work you did for it.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve the Elkhorn Vet Clinic septic and drain field replacement application and permit documentation.
I will second that.
Is there any public comment on the motion? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, all those in favor of approving the Elkhorn Vet septic and drain field replacement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kevin, we will
Yes,
get
thank
this
you.
signed and to you today.
That sounds great. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank
Talk
you.
soon, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Can you pass this to Angie? Just need my signature. Next item on the agenda, resolution to appoint Mark Wood interim sheriff. Mark, do you want to just start this off? Thank you.
Yes. Mark Wood, common spelling, Sheriff, Broadwater County. Thank you for having me here. Well,
Do you want to give the background and
how much background?
the short story? Why we're doing this today.
Oh, obviously Nick stepped down as sheriff and I'm the undersheriff, and for continuity purposes, it's best that I take on that position since I've been here for years and know how to do the budgeting, and I've been around everybody here, and I've been in law enforcement I've been in public service for 46 years, law enforcement for 36. It's my passion, it's basically my life. It's embarrassing, but that's all I know, so.
And Nick is still
Yeah.
at the office.
Absolutely, 100%.
How long have you been in Broadwater County? Did you say that?
I've been with the office for 10 years. I retired out of DC in 2016
Yeah.
and came directly here.
Do one of you care to read or would you like to read the resolution?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Lindsay, Commissioner Rittmeyer will not be singing it or reading it because I
I
don't trust
will
her.
not sing.
Jesse, could you do that?
I won't sing the rest. Jeez, wow. Okay.
A resolution appointing Under Sheriff Mark Wood to serve as the interim Broadwater County Sheriff. Whereas there was a vacancy in the office of Broadwater County Sheriff as of March 24th, 2026, and whereas Montana Code Annotated 7-4-2206 2B provides that the commissioners may appoint an interim officer for the time period between the occurrence of the vacancy and the date on which the vacancy is filled pursuant to this section. Now therefore be it resolved that the Broadwater County Commissioners appoint Mark Wood as interim sheriff until a new sheriff is elected at the next general election and sworn into office.
Thank you. Mark and everybody at the Sheriff's Office does an amazing job. They go above and beyond. I asked them just yesterday about the fly-in, if they would help us, and they said yes. It's on a Saturday, and they will help with the parking or traffic or whatever we need, so we greatly appreciate that. There's a lot of community involvement from your office, and the community and the county appreciate it. It's above and beyond just checking for speed limit.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes. Any other comments, questions?
No.
I didn't have any.
And Mark is a candidate. He is he will be running,
Yes.
running for sheriff.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I move,
Sorry. Just really don't want me to sing. Go ahead.
I move to approve the resolution to appoint Mark Wood as the interim sheriff.
I will second that.
Any public comment? Any public comment? Any questions? Any public comment? There's a motion and a second to appoint Mark Wood to serve as the interim Broadwater County Sheriff. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Well, thank you for entrusting me with this.
Motion
and
passes.
I will give you dedication and professionalism I've always done for the last 46 years, and there's going to be a learning curve. If I need help, I know who to ask for help, so.
You have already stepped up big time for the budget.
Thank you.
Mark and Jamie and, have really helped us with the budget and the process there. And that was going above and beyond.
And we have
Thank you.
I have a good team.
You have a
I
great
can
team.
ask for help. Other sheriffs, Nick is going to be right there. If I need his help, I can ask him. So we'll get through this.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Why do I hesitate? Commissioner
No,
Rickmeyer,
I will behave. I promise.
Commissioner Rickmeyer, and I believe Ed Schindel, is he on?
It is on.
Are going to discuss this. The tower space lease agreement between Northwestern Energy and Broadwater County.
Okay, sorry.
Want me to start?
There we go.
Yeah, there. Ed, can
Ed,
you?
that'd be great.
Yeah, can you explain what it is? We don't have the paperwork, and there is no money being,
Right.
there's no monetary value to the contract. So if you could just talk about what it is, that'd be great.
All right, my name is Ed Schindel, Shindoll. I'm the chief for the Broadwater Rural Fire District, as you all know. Northwest Energy got in contact with me about putting up some cameras on our repeater tower that we put up, the last one that we put up there, the highest one on the hill. And the cameras will be used for Northwest Energy to watch for fires or anything along the line, their lines. But also, by doing this, they said that I would have access to be able to look at the cameras and see if there's smoke and where it might be so that fire can respond a little quicker. And like you said, there's no monetary exchange on this, but for being able to put that up there, they are going to give me access to the cameras so I can use them to look for fires. Right now, if we okay the fact that we're interested in it, they have to send a team out to make sure everything will work for their system, and then access into the building to make sure there's room to put their equipment in that before anything else gets done. So it might be end of May, first part of June before the cameras were supposed to be available. So we'll be checking that stuff out between now and then, and hopefully everything will work out, and we'll have some cameras up there so we can see what's going on in the valley.
That will be a huge resource for you.
Yeah.
I did not understand that part of it, so that is a nice feature.
Yes, definitely.
Did they say how long, or is this kind of just assumed to be as long as, they'll just put them up there indefinitely?
Yeah, as long as there's no problems, I'm assuming they will be staying there. Northwest is trying to put a lot of cameras out along their lines so they can see what's going on for any wind damage or anything like that too. So, yeah, they're pretty much permanent. They're trying to make it so that the locals can use them to see what's going on there too.
And we can access that through their site, right? They have them on their Northwest Energy site. You can see what their
I
camera
believe so,
views?
yes.
Okay.
So do we, Ed, or Commissioner Rittmer, do we need to send a letter to Northwestern Energy to saying we've approved this, or what is needed from us?
I think we could just say we move to approve an agreement for the fire cameras to be on it's our radio tower, I believe?
Yeah, it's our radio repeater tower up there,
Repeater
yes.
tower. Okay, so we could just say, we could make a motion to approve that, and then Ed can handle like a clean contract he can get to us later. The draft contract was already reviewed by Haranch.
Okay,
He
that
said
was my
He said
question.
it's fine, there are no issues. So as long as we could approve it today and sign.
Okay. I think it would be good to, in the motion, some mention of upon approval, because all that Haranch or Kevin have looked at is the draft contract.
Okay.
So once we get it, just a quick overview.
Upon final
Yeah,
approval?
upon final approval.
Okay, sounds good.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve, upon final approval from legal department, the agreement between Northwestern Energy and Broadwater County for cameras on our radio repeater tower.
I will second that.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any public comment, any questions?
The only other thing I have to say is there won't be a contract until they make sure that everything fits.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
And Ed, there is, we did get a public comment. There's no money exchanged either way, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. You said that earlier. I just wanted to clarify. Any other public comment? There's a motion and a second to approve the tower space lease agreement between Northwestern Energy and Broadwater County upon final legal approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you very much, Ed.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
You too.
Thanks, Ed. I think that'll be cool. Northwestern Energy, you can go on there. It's a little bit hidden, but they have cameras, and you can see a bunch of different stuff over the Helena Valleys.
Really?
And Helena Valley, and some other areas. It's kind of cool to look out and see smoke, fires, all the fun stuff, which it could
Hopefully
be
you look over and not see something.
and not see things, right? It could be an interesting year, but maybe with
We
this
hope
kind of
to see
weather,
nothing on those cameras.
right?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Next item on the agenda, Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director. Nicole, if you want to move up to the table. I know it's easier to spread out and get comfy. Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director. Broadwater County Subdivision Regulation Amendments.
Thank you, Chairman Peggy.
Why am I getting the idea you had something to do?
Are you going to lead with your presentation on the correlation between coffee intake and meeting length?
I was actually going to begin with lesson in underwater basket weaving.
Oh, fine.
I know it's not on the agenda.
I already
but
stole your
it's,
thunder. And
It's not on the
chart,
agenda,
so.
Okay.
Stop. I know. We'll stop. Okay.
Will you?
No.
She's also a liar. She's not going to stop. All right. Thank you, Commissioners. Nicole Brown, Broadwater Community Development Director, here to discuss proposed amendments to the Broadwater County subdivision regulations. This has been an ongoing topic for actually a few months now because it dates all the way back to November of 2025, December of 2025. But most recently, we reconvened to discuss this topic in February, the end of February, and pretty much all through March. So I appreciate all of your attention to this, the details. I appreciate the public's input. I know that this is not the most exciting topic to everyone. So anyway, thanks for hanging with me and getting through this process.
Chuck is offended. It's a very exciting topic.
It's an important topic.
It's important.
Maybe it is exciting.
It's very needed.
It's very needed, and it's very important.
Correct.
Yes. but it's also very laborious.
And it's very good to have people weigh in.
Absolutely. So, commissioners, at the last commission meeting, I presented, well, a few commission meetings ago, so I suppose it wasn't the last one. I presented to you proposed amendments, and I gave you a sheet that looked something like this. It's also available, it's been available online, detailing all of the pages of proposed amendments. I'm not going to go through that today, unless you direct me to. What I want to focus your attention on is a 3 pages that I put together based on the public comments received at the previous commission meeting. This page, I believe, has been posted online. I don't recall if it was or not, but basically this was the outline or the summary of the public comments received at the last commission meeting. So I have gone through this and put in my notes and my suggestions, as I believe each of you have individually. So if we may go through these, again, I know this is a laborious process, but item by item, I will lead and obviously allow you to weigh in. Is that appropriate, Madam Chair?
I think that's great, and
Okay.
Nicole and I talked earlier. I think what we're going to do, rather than doing a motion for each one, she's going to take very good notes, and if things are approved at the end, we will approve them in one large.
Thank goodness, because it'd be a lot of singing.
Yes. I made that decision before I knew you were going to sing, so I'm really happy with my decision. And Nicole will be our record keeper.
Perfect. All right, Madam Chair.
Yes.
First item. Again, this is based on the comments received at the previous commission meeting discussing subdivision regulations. On page 1, item number 2, and on page 3, item number 22. This comment was regarding the correlation between ADUs, accessory dwelling units, and driveways. The comment to the commission was to consider allowing a driveway to serve 2 homes instead of only 1, simply because of the fact that ADUs, if we're going to allow ADUs in a subdivision, it would be necessary or likely necessary for them to have a shared driveway. While I appreciate and understand that comment, I disagree. I think the 1 driveway per structure or per lot is prudent. Because that is through the subdivision process that the roads and driveways are being constructed. Through the subdivision process, the ADUs are not being constructed, nor are they being proposed infinitely for all subdivisions. So when a subdivision application comes in, the developer checks the box on the application form. If it's for a single-family residence, multifamily residence, commercial, industrial. I'm probably missing something, but on that list, right? So what we're saying is not all lots will have an ADU. Not all lots in a subdivision will have the ability to have an ADU. ADUs are not necessarily correlating to subdivision. So because we have ADU description in the subdivision regulations does not mean that ADUs will always be in a subdivision. So I still feel strongly that 1 driveway per lot is prudent when designing a subdivision. And that's my comments, but I'm happy to continue that conversation if you have questions.
Questions, comments?
If we want to leave it the way it is, what if we, because I still get hung up on, I know what you're saying, but I still think there's the potential for a lot of confusion when the definition for driveway says no more than 1 dwelling unit. What if we change the definition to no more than 1 tract or 1 lot? That way it eliminates the confusion of what constitutes a dwelling unit.
Madam Chair, may I respond?
Please.
I think that makes sense. Given this is our first conversation on this, I don't see where any pitfalls could arise out of that. I mean, again, in this brief time period to consider, I don't know where any real problems would arise because of that.
I hadn't considered it, but I think it's helpful.
No, but I do want.
Because in reality, too, you could have a driveway to a tract without a building.
Per lot. So how would that read?
Yeah.
I mean, being that we're dealing with subdivisions, they would be considered lots instead of tracts or parcels. So, I mean, I think
Sure.
driveway, vehicular access serving no more than one lot.
Very positive. I'm like, this is not happening, but I don't want to sit here and put a big post out there. I'm not going to bicker with everybody on Facebook. and just-
I'm trying to figure out if there's any negative. Director Brown would know better than I do.
Well, Madam Chair, I think that is an impossibility given your description of positive Peggy today. I don't know how you could possibly come up with a negative. But yeah, I agree with Commissioner Swenson to say to one lot because a lot could have a shop. A lot could never have a dwelling unit on it.
So what would the wording be?
Yeah.
A driveway is a vehicular access serving no more than one lot. Period. And then continuation, vehicular access serving or abutting more than one dwelling unit shall be considered a road. How can we amend that? I guess we can leave that sentence, though. A vehicular access serving or abutting more than one dwelling unit shall be considered a road and shall be built to the road standards outlined in these regulations. Because even in the instance of a second dwelling unit on a parcel that's not a subdivision, they would not have to comply with this. What I'm sort of scenarioing here would be a larger tract. Let's use maybe a large farm or ranch operation where there's already one structure on it with an address and then a second structure, a bunkhouse or an ADU, whatever you choose to call it, is being added to the parcel. They're not going through subdivision, so they're not being forced to comply with this driveway standard. Again, that's shifting into my role as GIS administrator, and I could assign a second address to that one driveway. Not more than two. But
I would rather keep it consistent and not intermix lot and dwelling unit within the same definition.
okay.
So my thought was like a driveway serving no more than one lot, vehicular access serving more than one lot would be considered a road
Yeah,
and need to be built to road standards.
More than one lot shall be considered.
So if I may, in that definition, we're just replacing where dwelling unit is identified twice. We're replacing it with lot.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Does that work in the case of if there is a family transfer within a subdivision and you have two, now you have, I guess you still have a new lot, so you could technically serve, that driveway could serve the additional lot if it's been created from the original lot, right?
Yeah, if I'm understanding you, we can't install, like have them put restrictions on access for family transfer.
Right. But
So that's where it gets hard. I mean, but
I guess that becomes an issue of you're doing a family transfer within a subdivision. We have one driveway serving that lot. You would have to be able to do two addresses off that one driveway if there were a family transfer. Or they have to figure out, but you couldn't, that materially changes. If they were to put in a different driveway, that would materially change.
if they hooked up to like the main I mean, and you're kind of comparing apples and oranges because this is strictly subdivision.
I know, it's
not-
really hard not to.
This ADU thing,
It's
confuses the.
I like the use of lot. I think that is good because dwelling units, because of ADUs and the different things that can happen. It also makes me think about how many ADUs are going to have their own address too, right? So lot would make sense because most ADUs, I'm going out on a limb and I'm generalizing, are for my mother-in-law that's there or my, whatever. I guess in some cases you could use it as a rental, but.
Right. Verbo or,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
but
not.
still, even if it's a Verbo, you're still the owner and you're getting, you know, this one driveway. You're probably going to still have that address.
I do see it, I have seen them used frequently for rentals.
Mm.
And of course, in this rental market, I'm just kind of surprised more people aren't doing that.
However, I do think too, if you were using that as a rental, you have one driveway and an address attached to that driveway, you're probably going to get like a PO box or something, right? You're not going to construct another driveway. But again, if it's a family transfer, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because we can't review it. So I like the use of lot. I think it makes sense. And we could all be wrong in 6 months and have to come back and change it again. And that is what it is.
I like lot. I like lot versus dwelling. I hadn't thought of it until you said that, Jesse, so.
Kind of came to me when because when you were given the
Read
first
it.
definition, you were saying parcel.
So simple and so brilliant.
Right.
Good job.
And again, we don't have to make this decision today. I don't like kicking the can down the road. And next week, I didn't say that in public comment. There won't be a commission meeting next week. Lindsay's at a conference and I'm at a different one. Jesse's holding down the fort here for us.
You got this.
Are you good with lot or versus dwelling, or?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't see where that would pose any problems.
'Cause you're going to get those phone calls
Yeah.
first. Okay. Next item.
Next item, page 15, number 1G, construction timing. The request was to consider allowing construction to occur prior to submitting a property for consideration as a subdivision. So my proposed amendment to the regulation based on this public comment would be, and do you have your regulations in front of you, commissioners, or would you like me to read this?
I think we
I have them.
Okay, okay. All right, so this item, page 15, 1G is in girl, states a person may not erect any facility, ... My suggestion would be to say a person should not. So although may is a bit of a delicate term, should is a little more soft, if you will. Basically putting the landowner or the developer on notice that you really should not begin construction. And the reason for that being, if the development is not approved, what's your plan?
Right.
So, my suggestion would to replace the word replace the word may with should, and a statement at the end of this section that reads, any construction activity that commences prior to subdivision approval is done so at the landowner's risk. The county assumes no liability.
I think Nicole and I talked about that one a lot. We came up with that. I think it makes it more clear, and just if you do that, you're not doing it at your own risk. Okay. Any questions on that one?
Nope.
All right. Looks like we all did homework.
So
Ready to go.
So proud. All right, page 20. 2AI, B, I, 1 and 2. The request was to consider adding the word approximate, since this does not have to be a survey but can be a freehand sketch. This is in regards to the pre-application meeting. Survey is not required in order for an applicant to request or a pre-applicant even, to request a pre-application meeting from staff. And so it does make sense to include the word approximate. In my notes here, though, I did have some follow-up questions. My suggestion was to remove the scale of 1 inch to 400 feet under 2A1BI. Second line, it does have the scale bar in there, and I don't know how handy each of you are with pen and paper, but to come up with a scale of 1 inch to 400 feet would be difficult if you were doing a freehand sketch. So my suggestion was to eliminate that, but then I did make notes here to ask for a clarifying comment on where the the individual who'd made the public comment, where they were suggesting maybe to place the word approximate, because I do see it in here under 1B, approximate tract and lot boundaries of existing tracts of record. So I'm just not certain where else to insert approximate, because some of these items do need to be more definitive, such as the location. Existing structures and improvements, those can be approximate. Easements and rights of way can be approximate. Natural features in the land, water bodies, floodplains, soil types. I feel like that's more of a definitive response than an approximate response. So, and I do know the commenter, and since this was public comment, I don't feel out of line saying this. Bernadette Swenson was the one who made the comment, and I know she's not here today. So I needed clarifying information on where she was proposing that we place the word approximate, as in where would it make the most sense for her to have that. So I'm not certain where to insert that verbiage, Madam Chair.
I think approximate, like you said, it's in B. The rest of them need more definition. So I don't know where additionally we could add approximately. I do completely agree with getting rid of the scale. 1 to 400 feet.
That'd be laborious to hand draw. 1 inch
No.
to 400.
I think the other
It would be for me, Commissioner Swenson. That would be a lot.
I personally think all of them need to be approximate if it's going to be hand sketched. It would be almost impossible for anybody that doesn't have extensive surveying background to hand sketch anything accurately.
That's what I'm saying.
So I mean, we could get rid of hand sketched and make them do because a lot of it could be provided by a aerial photo. I mean, of all the existing things.
That's true. Is there even a need for a hand sketch at this point with all the
I did not think about that.
technology that is?
But I think if we're going to allow hand sketched, all of it needs to be approximate, because like I said, unless you had a lot of experience drafting a map, it would be nearly impossible for somebody to get an actual location of any of those accurately. I mean, it's going to be a rough estimate, but even with the land features, I mean, if I'm drawing a map and I'm just drawing Canyon Ferry, I'm going to get it close to where it is, but I could be off. I mean, especially if you use scale, it could be off by a mile and not really even notice too much.
It seems
messing
like
up.
number 2 under big I, B large I. Number 2 is you could get rid of the other stuff before that. 1, but 2 would need to stay. So I don't know what that would change. Like I, Roman numeral I. How that would be worded, because would you still keep, because number 2 says documentation on the status of the site, including, and that's specific, you would probably still want that, right?
But yeah.
That's all documentation.
That's documentation.
That's not part of the
Right.
sketch
But
or the
this-
map.
Yeah, it's just nested under that. I guess
Those are actual documents.
I guess you would make that, what number 2 is, you would just make it
Roman numeral 2,
Roman numeral 2 or 1, yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
I
Or
see
just
what
take
you're
out,
saying.
just make it Roman numeral I, because you would take away the sketch.
I see. Yeah, because it
You
does
see
look
what I
like
mean?
when you're looking at it, it looks like it's part
Yes.
of the sketch.
Yes, correct.
Oh.
I see what you're saying.
It's listed under,
Under the sketch.
I, yeah, it's a subset.
And we'll say too, like all of those features that are required in number 1 will be included on the drawing at the future date. So I mean, I don't think there's any harm with the approximate of all of them if we want to continue allowing a hand sketch. I think most of everybody, you would know this more than I would, but are there a lot of hand-drawn sketches that you receive, or is it mostly printed off of somehow of a map online from Google Earth or Cadastro or whatever?
To be frank, it's typically a survey.
Yeah, I was gonna.
I have very few hand sketches. Well, I would feel very confident to say 0 hand sketches come in, because it's pretty pointless with Google Earth, with the readily available information.
So here's an idea. Why don't we get rid of scale 1 inch to 400 feet. And just information on the status, including approximate. Because if you're not getting any hand sketches, we've spent a lot of time talking about something
Not coming in.
that we're not.
So maybe to get rid of that letter I completely under B, and then just go right to item number 1 and 2? Is that what you're saying, or no?
You mean the wording at I?
Yes, to where
Yeah.
it says the sketch may be a freehand. Get rid of that entire
Right.
statement, if you will. I don't want to say section. And then jump right to 1 and 2.
So number 1 would become Roman numeral 1. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it could stay. Yeah, I guess it would become. It would
And then
have
number
to.
2 would
Get
become
rid of
Roman
the
numeral
numbering
2.
And so on.
Yeah,
I mean, if in all your experience you're not getting those, we're talking about something that hasn't been an issue.
right.
Yeah.
No, I tend to like that idea. And then obviously 2
Are you
on
guys okay
page
with that?
21 would become 3.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to even have it in there.
No,
Okay.
this is a laborious project on itself. It's
So by removing that chunk, are we saying then, so number 1, all of the items listed there, you want more as part of a survey accurately described?
And if you are, you could, rather than removing 1, just take out anything about the sketch and say, something about the list below needs to be, this information listed below needs to be included.
What? I mean, I don't think it needs to be a survey. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to eliminate confusion down the road of saying, okay, well, how do you want this?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, a
So-
lot of it is just a picture from cadastral, other than the easements, which those sometimes are shown, but most of the time it's just the,
Under sub-item B, it does say a sketch. And so maybe we can just eliminate sketch and say a rendering. Does that make sense?
I was trying to think of another
Yeah.
word,
Yeah.
whether it be a photograph or
Right.
a map or a sketch, just materials, or I don't know.
A rendering. would be
Rendering.
good. That would
So
be good.
in B, get rid of sketch and replace it with rendering. Get rid of Roman numeral 1. Item number 1 becomes Roman numeral 1, and then maybe add approximate in front of information. So approximate information on the status of the site, including A through G.
yeah.
Okay.
We good?
I'm good with that.
Okay. Next item.
Next item. Page 22. And this is not page 22 in your regulations because this is page 22 of the proposed amendment. So you kind of have 2 piles of information you're working with here. Because this was part of the proposed amendments that this topic came out. But basically to move the table of contents, which is currently item number 2, move that to item number 1. Because item number 1 on the proposed amendment is a completed signed subdivision application form, so we would just move table of contents to the top. To me, this is a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
It
Table
simplifies
of contents is normally the first thing.
Yeah.
Normally, it is. All right, next item, number 23. Consider adding the word majors, I'm sorry, item number 23, item number 28, page 23 on your proposed amendments. Let's see. Item number 28, community impact report, and add, comma, 4 majors only. To me, this makes sense as well.
Yep, it's just been missing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, page 23, in your amendments, item number 33 and 34, Essentially, the request was to swap the order of these two items so that water and sanitation information flow right into the DNRC topic, which is currently proposed item number 34. And then the ag covenant letter becomes new 34. So to me, this obviously makes sense.
Kind of cleaning up.
It just makes sense.
Makes the flow.
Water,
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, water.
All right, next one, page 35. On your proposed amendments. The last sentence, the governing body may not approve an amended final plat without the written consent of the owners and lien holders of all lots in the subdivision which are affected or modified by the proposed amendment. The request was to consider eliminating this last sentence. And I agree. I cannot envision a scenario. So this is final plat. This is not filed final plat. So final plat is when a developer subdivider is here at the governing body meeting, the governing body grants final plat approval. So that interim period where they have final approval, but they don't have the final plat because they've not walked it over to the courthouse or they've not walked it into the courthouse to file the plat. So there's not really any other owners. The only owners are those listed on the final plat. So to me, it makes sense to eliminate this sentence.
I would agree.
I agree.
Yep.
All right. Moving on, page 36. Consider adding a letter D, capital D, and this is 36 in your subdivision regulations. This was not a previously proposed amendment. And what this list is first minor subdivision exceptions, as in items that are not required for a first minor subdivision. And the request was to add a letter D as in David, community impact report, because that is not required for a first minor subdivision. I agree with this proposed amendment.
Thoughts?
I can go either way. I mean, I like adding it if we didn't have it earlier, but if we say earlier that it's for majors only, I don't know if we need to, but it doesn't hurt to have it.
doesn't hurt.
So
That was my thought.
I say go for it.
Yeah.
Let's help the residents as much as
Yeah.
possible, because this is in-depth process anyhow.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay with that?
All right. Page 58 in your subdivision regulations. This was not a previously proposed amendment. Page 58, 4A7. Consider allowing changes to be made after the public hearing. So currently, if a developer comes before the planning board and subsequently a public hearing is held, if changes are made to the application after that public hearing, they're required to go back for a subsequent public hearing. The purpose for this, obviously, is to allow the public the right to participate and comment in the process. I, myself, would like to keep it as is, because I think if a change is made based on comments received at the public hearing, those can be added as a condition of approval. If changes are made to the application, I do agree in a fair and transparent process where the public is allowed to view all changes being made to the application. And not that they wouldn't be allowed to view, there just wouldn't be a subsequent public hearing, and so there may not be that opportunity. So I personally would like to keep it as is.
Thoughts?
I'm okay with that, especially like you said, if we can add certain things as conditions of approval instead of changes to the application, just to kind of keep the process as smooth as possible, but it makes sense. I understand if you're changing the application, that makes sense, so you need to kind of go back through the process, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're always, I mean, especially after our previous lawsuit, public comment is important.
Very important.
It's very important, and the public needs an opportunity to weigh in.
I agree.
All right, moving on to page 59, 4A8. Consider allowing the developer to present additional information in response to the governing body's request. I feel the same for previous reasons stated in amendments to the public hearing. A scenario where that might occur, a developer makes it through the planning board, the public hearing gets to the commission meeting, and the commission says, we'd really like to see X. the commission has the ability to add a condition of approval, and I feel that that would be the appropriate time for the commission to add that condition, not to instruct the developer to make that change to the application, thereby forcing them to go back through the process of planning board meeting, public hearing, and again appearing before the commission, which could take a month or two. So I personally would just like to see it remain as is written.
Director Brown and I talked about this morning briefly, very briefly, but it makes sense again, kind of like the previous, if it's a change to the application, it makes sense that you have to go through, but I know in the past there was one where the commission asked somebody, or asked for something, they brought it back to the next meeting, and the thought was, okay, well now this is new information, we have to go through the whole process again, which I don't like that if they're responding to something that was being asked of. But so I just think, like we talked about, of being intentional of how we're asking, not changing the application, not changing that portion of it, but trying to make it as a condition of approval so that it's not starting the process over again for providing an answer to the question that was asked, if that makes sense. But I think it can all be done with the way it's written.
It seems like, as it lists under A, governing body gets to determine that, and I know it's hard, you want to be consistent, right? So you read that again. Yeah, the governing body shall determine if new information constitutes a need for subsequent public hearing. So if it's something, I mean, that would allow us to make that determination. I would be in favor of leaving it.
Okay. Next.
Page 93. This is in your amendment packet. 9B1B1. Consider identifying which staff, just kidding, I skipped one there. 9B1A.
There we go.
I apologize. Consider amending the final sentence to state an application for exemption must be accompanied by the Attorney General's affidavit for family transfers only. I think this is a brilliant idea because on page 93, that statement in red that is being proposed to be added is for all exemptions. And as we know, the AG's affidavit is not for all exemptions. It's only for family transfers. So I think this is a great idea.
Agreed. You good with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right, next one, page 93, 9B1B1. The request was to consider identifying which staff comprises the COS review committee. Let's see. I originally had thoughts that I did not want the COS review committee identified, basically not for purposes of withholding information, but really just in case that COS review committee changed. Then we would have to go back through the subdivision process. So if we added staff or removed staff, if we found that they could not attend a meeting or there was no input that they were able to provide on the topic, we'd have to go back through the process of amending the regulations. So originally I wanted to keep that out, but after some discussion with Commissioner Randolph, came up with a statement that says, I'm just going to read my proposed amendment. I'm just going to do that, it's easier. So the subdivision administrator shall review the application and attach documents and provide a copy of the documents to the COS review committee, which will be comprised of 2 or more of the following staff positions: sanitarian, county attorney or deputy county attorney, 1 commissioner, clerk and recorder, and others as needed. So that would be the sentence.
I'm fine with that.
That means more than one person has their eyes on it, because we can't be uber specific. Because if it changes, then we have to go through a whole public hearing process and do it again. So, you have
But at least now the public knows who potentially is on that group.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
And that is something too that could be, as you introduce, as she introduces an agenda item that includes this, you could say this is the this was reviewed by the COS
Yeah, that would be
committee,
part-
include, you know, which was comprised of so-and-so
Yeah.
and so-and-so.
We did talk about that also. Next item?
Page 94 and 95. The request was to consider adding a section on evasion review criteria. Commissioner Rickmeyer brought up this topic, and she was going to work on creating this list. Full disclosure, I did meet with Commissioner Randolph and Commissioner Rickmeyer individually. As Commissioner Swenson said, him and I met briefly this morning. Our schedules did not work out. I was out of the office yesterday, so for us to meet on Monday. So we met very briefly this morning, but Commissioner Randolph and I met with Commissioner Randolph on Monday morning. I met with Commissioner Rickmeyer on Monday afternoon. In my discussion with Commissioner Rickmeyer, I believe you came to the conclusion that maybe you weren't going to investigate the evasion review criteria. Is that correct?
No, I had to talk through it. It's
Okay.
something we had discussed in previous meetings, like how nice would it be to just have evasion criteria? If that is ever the case, it needs to come from the state. I appreciate Chuck's comments on it. However, I'm very surprised Gallatin County has gotten away with their evasion criteria. There's some things in there that are a little bit, I wouldn't even say a little bit, they're pretty gray. I think it's something that would best come from the state, and I believe that we have in place with the current regulations ways to figure that out, as we just did in the last one. And that's on us to review things, it's on us to look into things, it's on the public to review things and look into things and ask those questions. And have thorough documentation in the case of an evasion.
I agree.
Me too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting through it.
All right, again on page 94, 9B1B7. The comment was made that this nullifies section 9B1C. Dun, dun, dun. If the use of the exemption is denied, the claimant may appeal the decision to the governing body. And I don't see where that nullifies. I can't draw that correlation, I guess, where it would nullify section 9B1C. Appeals. Because 9B1B7 is essentially the final bullet point, talking about if an exemption is denied, and then rolling into C is the appeal process. So I guess I don't see where C is nullified. I can't draw the correlation there. So I don't think that is correct. And I think it should stay as
the
is.
same.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Thoughts, comments?
No, I agree. I think some of the confusion happened with the way it was stated prior, that the subdivision administrator was making the decision. And it kind of references that in number 7 and in C. But I think with the way the new changes, I don't see how it contradicts itself. We would make the decision to deny. The claimant would have a chance to appeal and bring new information. I think it's good the way it is.
Agree.
Agreed.
All right, the next item, and this is in your amendment packet, page 96. When determining whether an exemption is claimed for the purpose of evading the MSPA, the governing body shall consider the criteria for review outlined for the specific exemptions listed in section 9C below. So the comment was that this needs to be amended or removed if the criteria for review is removed from each exemption section. And that is correct, but then before we discuss that, I would like to jump to the next topic, which is page 90, the page 96 through 103 topic, 9C1 through 9C5, criteria for review. The request was to consider leaving the criteria for review in each of these sections. So that is to say that in this exemption chapter, the criteria for review was removed for each individual item. There is criteria for review for general requirements for exemptions, but not for each specific type of exemption. That criteria for review is proposed to be eliminated. So if the criteria for review stays in each specific exemption criteria section, then we would leave this item 9B2C. If the criteria for review in each of these sections is removed, we do need to amend that 9B2C. So I think the bigger question is whether or not you do want to eliminate the criteria for review for each of the exemptions being proposed. And then we can follow up with 9B2C, how to proceed. And Madam Chair, really, in my notes, I didn't have strong feelings one way or the other. I know the criteria for review was proposed to be eliminated simply because it was listed in the general requirements for exemptions. It's listed on the exemption application, so it felt a little redundant, but it doesn't hurt to keep it there in the regulations.
I guess one of my thoughts is it may feel redundant to us, especially to you, but perhaps not to the resident. The more information, and if we repeat ourselves, we repeat ourselves.
Yeah, they can ignore it, but it's there. I mean, like I said to you, it's how you want to organize things. 6 one, half dozen of the other. It doesn't hurt to leave it.
What I liked about what the changes that were suggested is the criteria for review for an exemption is the same for all exemptions. Because an evasion of a subdivision is still an evasion, whether it's a family transfer, it's an agricultural tract, whatever it is. The evasion is still evasion. So I like having uniform review criteria. That was kind of where my head was. And then a lot of the questions, or a lot of the different review criteria, whether we put it all in the one place or separate it all out throughout the different sections, we can kind of talk about that too. But having it either on the application or in the review criteria, I think, I don't know. I like I said, I like having it more uniform than having different review criteria for that in my mind doesn't make sense. If that makes sense.
Nicole, you deal, obviously, much more than we do directly with the developer or the resident or the landowner. What do you think helps them understand the process the best, the most clear?
Madam Chair, to be honest, I think leaving the criteria for review might be best, because if I'm doing a boundary location, I don't care about the family transfers, right? So if I'm a landowner doing a boundary location, am I actually going to read about a family transfer exemption? Probably not.
It could confuse the situation.
Right, and so to have one section specific to that type of exemption request makes sense. I do understand what Commissioner Swenson is saying, and that's when he and I spoke 3 weeks ago. to talk about these amendments and, suggested removing the criteria for review, it was for that reason, to have kind of this one umbrella criteria for review for all exemptions. But with that being said, I don't know how many individuals are going to read that much of the regulation. And we can't force everyone to read everything. So I also understand that, right? We're providing the information. It's up to each individual person to take the personal responsibility to read the parts, or to read what is necessary to them. But if we can have more verbiage in there to hopefully make it more clear, I am also in favor of that.
I see both sides.
I see both sides of it too. I really am. I don't have strong feelings one way or another.
I don't know.
I feel like these regulations, this section of the regulations, not that it's not for the public and it's a public document, I feel like it's more for us. In my 15 to 20 years of surveying, I don't think I ever talked to a landowner that read the regulations, ever. It was the surveyors knew the regulations, and it was the county that enforced them. Not saying that we dictate to that, right, at all. I'm just pointing that out of, I think, I don't think I ever talked to anybody that even knew to look in the regulations, let alone that they were there for them to read. I can go either way. There's a lot of the questions that in the criteria for review that some of them I don't feel like we should be asking. But that's kind of a different topic.
Another day. I don't disagree.
So to clarify, because we're kind of like circling the drain on this. What you would like just the one initial section on criteria for review?
Right.
Am I understanding that? Okay. Because it applies to all the
It should apply
sections.
to all, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, any exemption criteria should apply to all exemptions.
Okay. And we're all like 50-50. We could go either way.
Yeah.
Believe me, I want to move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having said that, I kind of defer to planning director.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Nicole.
You live and breathe this this week. This is your world.
So
Winning.
Let's look at one section.
Okay.
Go to page 98 of the proposed amendment packet. Criteria for review. This is under family transfers. Whether the proposed use, this is item C1, whether the proposed use of a family transfer exemption is to divide a tract of record that was created through use of an exemption. So this is criteria for review for the commission to use. This is in effect regardless of previous ownership of the tracts and pertains to remaining tracts of less than 160 acres as well as to those tracts that were created through exemptions. So as part of your criteria for review, does it matter that the proposed use of a family transfer exemption is to divide a tract of record that was created through the use of an exemption? MCA does not disallow for this. Therefore, you should not disallow for this. So that criteria for review is fairly irrelevant. The second one, whether the proposed use of a family transfer exemption is to divide a tract that was created as part of an overall development plan with such characteristics as common roads, utility easements, open spaces, or common marketing or promotional plan. I don't even know what that means.
I was going to say blah, 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 blah.
Like marketing or promotional plan. So obviously, like a real estate sign on the lawn, well, that's evasion, and you're going to take that into consideration outside of this criteria for review. And I also don't feel like this section is fair to lump both the construction of roads or a shared road and marketing campaign. Those are two very, very different situations.
And if it was a part of a overall development plan, my head goes to subdivision, but they're allowed inside of a subdivision. So
So if there is a common road,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
If there's a real estate sign on the to be gifted parcel, not okay.
Yep.
But that shouldn't be the same section, and it shouldn't be part of the criteria for review. And you're going to take that into consideration anyway.
Which would be part of the documented evidence that would be compiled.
Right.
Yeah.
So there, I don't want to go through this and
No.
belabor the topic, but, you know, and go through each of these items because we've read through them. I don't see any of this criteria for review being so necessary that it needs to be separated out into family transfer criteria for review, boundary relocation criteria for review. We have criteria for review.
In effort to move on.
I'm fine with that. I was
Yeah.
fine with either.
We
I'm
just
fine
keep
with it.
going.
It makes sense, and you're the one that's
Yeah.
working with it. My brain would organize it in that way. One piece of it, that's where you find it. It applies to all these, right? Like,
Can I make a comment at this point? Or do I need to wait until you?
You can make a comment. It's been a long meeting.
she's
and
positive today. She's
Yes,
positive.
look at me.
We got this.
My comment kind of goes back to what Commissioner Swenson had to say, that probably very few of the applicants read the application, or read the subdivision regulations. Commissioner Swenson said, these are for you. These are for you so that you have the ability, when you're challenged by either an applicant or some member of the public, that you can say, we considered these things in our subdivision regulations. These are some of the criteria. When you go through those criteria, you question the number one, Roman number one, whether the proposed use of the family transfer exemption is to divide a tract of record that was created through the use of an exemption. This is in effect regardless of the previous ownership of the tracts and pertains to remaining tracts of less than 160 acres, as well as those tracts created through the exemption. The Koblenz family transfer request was followed right within this. There was an exemption, a boundary relocation exemption that created a 102-acre tract. And then that tract is attempted to be used, divided, and use a family transfer exemption on it. I just feel like these criteria, especially when they're specific to a certain exemption, can be really important if it comes down to the point where you get involved in a court case. You need all that information to back up how you have decided on any, especially on the family transfer exemptions. The court case, Dreyer versus Fuller, that has given the ability to do whatever you need to do to create a rebuttable presumption.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think we would have the criteria review just at the beginning in the subdivision exemption section. So it's not like you're taking it out completely.
No, right,
It is
correct.
there, so
Yeah.
it's not going to go away.
Yeah,
So really, it's just an issue of redundancy.
right,
And the answer to that question, we will have that on the application.
right.
Because that's one of the questions that's asked, is how the tract was created.
Right. And I appreciate what Mr. Hahn is saying, and I agree. But
Yes.
it is going to be there. It's going to be under exemption review criteria, right under 9B, little 2I, little Roman numeral 2. Sorry, it's so hard to say that. So, your exemption, and so we have it. It's there.
It's there. Director Brown, thoughts?
Madam Chair, I guess I do understand what Mr. Hahn is saying. I think it's important, though, to note that MCA will always supersede anything in our regulations. And 763207.6 Montana Code annotated, if a governing body can prove by documented evidence in the court of competent jurisdiction that a person has knowingly evaded subdivision regulations through the use of a division of land pursuant to subsection 1 or 2B. That person is subject to a civil penalty of $10,000 for each division of land payable to the governing body. So all of that to say, through documented evidence, you can decide what that documented evidence is. If that documented evidence is finding a real estate flyer that lists the property for sale, that's your documented evidence. That's not outlined in the regulation, but you can use your own smart brains to discern what documented evidence you need to make that determination of denial. So while I understand what he's saying, this does not need to be a comprehensive list. It's important to include items for consideration, but MCA still gives you that safety net to say documented evidence. You decide what that documented evidence is.
And just to point on that, the regulations say this is the under 9B II. The last sentence, these circumstances may include but are not limited to.
Yeah.
So we specify that in the regs too. So.
What are your thoughts? What do you want to do?
Take them out, leave the main one.
I'm in favor of that as well.
You got that covered, Nicole?
Yes, Madam Chair. So that being for item number 96, or I'm sorry, page number 96 through 103, 9C1, 9C5 criteria for review. So the proposed amendment will stand. If I could then draw your attention to, and I'm sorry, that's pending motion. If proposed amendment stands, page 96, 9B2C does need to be removed because it does draw attention to the criteria for review outlined in each of the specific sections. So with that, I would propose amending the amendment to eliminate 9B2C at the top of page 96 to be reflective of the proposed amendment.
I would agree with that.
I don't think I can use the word amendment
Yes.
anymore.
Oh my gosh.
All right, note taker, you got all this?
I have this, yes ma'am.
I'm so glad we saved this for the end of the meeting.
Can you imagine? Good thing we don't do this that often.
Right.
Although the legislature will be meeting
Shush,
again.
shush.
All right, moving on.
Please.
Yes, please.
Page 98, proposed amendment packet. 9C1B10, consider defining what a hardship is. My personal thoughts, I think hardship is already defined quite well in this section.
Yeah. And it's so case by case.
It's so case by
As we
case,
know.
and so I think it's one of those things that we are going to have to,
Yeah.
we just have to use our smart brains, as you said. And I discussed this with you. Is there some way to put requesting the variance after an approval?
Yes, Madam Chair, may I respond?
Please.
Yes.
Um,
So, yes. I'm like, sure, go for it. Sorry.
She thinks she is.
So I after my conversation with Commissioner Rickmeyer, we did discuss this. So I would like to propose the amended 9C1B10 to state, the immediate family member or spouse may request a variance after the approval of the exemption from holding the subdivision for a period of 2 years. As in, comma. You to not request the variance before the exemption is approved.
Oh.
We had that
Yes.
scenario rise
Yes.
once before,
Yes.
and it made it cumbersome for you
Yes.
commissioners to navigate moving forward.
It just makes it
So
confusing.
it's not part of the process. It's
Right.
a request after the
After,
fact.
variance is
Correct.
requested after. It's, when you get the
Very
application, to be like, I'm applying for this subdivision exemption, but I need a variance because I need to
Right.
sell the property.
Right.
Yep.
No. Good with that?
Yep.
Almost there.
Almost there. Moving on, still on page 9D of your amendment packet, item C1D is in David, the enforcement section. Amend the section to accurately reflect the change to 73.32077A of MCA. The penalty for evasion should read $10,000 or 10% of the value of the division of land if sold to a third party. This is correct.
Yep. Yes. It's in MCA.
It's in MCA. I've already made the amendment. I simply couldn't make the amendment pre-vote. I'm sorry, I should say make the amendment officially. All right. Last one, page 102. 9C4C23. Statement that says, and it's towards the bottom of page 102, this is regarding mortgage exemptions. Documentation that the lending institution is a financial or lending institution registered to do business in the state of Montana. The request was to consider removing this statement completely. I don't know how we're going to know if a lending institution, can do business in the state of Montana. I don't know what that document would look like, and so if we're asking for something, probably know what it is we're asking for.
Easy. Good with that?
I'm good with it.
Yeah,
That was,
I'm wondering if this was a problem once, like,
It's not now.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
and
On a
it just
barn
was
app.
left. Yeah.
Right.
no, we did discuss that.
Madam Chair, I have one more item that you do not have. This
close.
You were so close. You were so close, but this is actually, I think this is fairly simple. So Commissioner Swenson and I met with County Attorney Bratcher on Monday morning, bright and early, to discuss the subsequent minors. Because as I was going through my amendment to these regulations and comparing them to the MACO, Montana Association of Counties model regulations, I noticed that we review subsequent minors slightly differently than proposed in the MACO model regulations. The reason that you didn't have this in my previous amendment, again, my previous amendment came the very last day in February, and I did not want to make these changes online. I didn't want to present any of these changes to you. And then the meeting timing of trying to set up meetings with the county attorney and a commissioner to go through this. So if I may approach Madam Chair, I have a proposed amendment that I'd like to give you. And it's just one brief sentence coming out. You didn't tell me I can approach, and
I'm not a judge.
I know.
Are we in court?
Right. You're welcome. It's page 45. I didn't print that. So it's page 45 of your subdivision regulations under subsequent minor subdivisions. So in Broadwater County, all subsequent minor subdivisions are reviewed as major subdivisions. In the MACO model regulations, the option or opportunity was there to review subsequent minor subdivisions up to the fifth lot, sixth lot being created, so up to the fifth lot as a first minor subdivision. So if you look in your regulation book, page 45 and 46, page 46 is a diagram of the lots. So the reason I want to make this amendment, we actually have this diagram in our regulations as is that says, in this diagram, I'm paraphrasing as it goes through this description of how the fifth lot was created. If it's 5 or less lots in a subsequent subdivision, process as a first minor. If it's more than 5, process as a major subdivision. So we have this diagram in our regulations, but our regulations contradict that diagram. So one of the two need to go, essentially, is what I'm getting at. My proposal is to remove item 3BA in the regulations. So this is to say, not all subsequent minor subdivisions will be reviewed as major subdivisions. So to give you an example, you have a one lot parcel, just one parcel, I should say one parcel. It's subdivided and turned into a 2-lot minor subdivision. If any owner of one of those 2 lots in that subdivision decides to split their lot further, they have to, in our current regulations, they have to go through the major subdivision review process. This would be providing an avenue for them to go through the minor process because it would only be creating the third tract of record from 2003. The date is very specific, and obviously this is going to take some work on my part to pay attention to that date. But essentially, if the third lot from a tract of record as created by October 1 of 2003 is being created, that owner of that property could go through the first minor process.
So 3 or less.
5.
Five.
I'm only using 3 just for simplification purposes.
Okay. I mean, I know it's 5, yeah, okay.
And that includes, just for clarity, like if, say you had a original parent tract from prior to 2003, and after that you have a family transfer, that is considered like if one tract. So as far as accounting is concerned, so like if you had a parent tract with the family transfer, so now you have 2 tracts, and somebody wanted to do a minor of one of those tracts and had 4 lots, that would be 6 lots total. 4 plus the 2. Where
Because you're counting the original parcel,
you have to count,
the remainder.
You have to count the exemption parcels also.
Okay.
So it's 5 or less total parcels created after 2003.
So what do you want to change? What do you, sorry, say that one more time.
I would prefer to remove that sentence A, 3BA, just because that's such a blanket statement stating it's the second or subsequent minor subdivision of a tract of record, then it's reviewed as a major.
Yeah.
And that's maybe not accurate.
Okay, I see.
I'm with you now.
Yeah. Yep.
So this change could allow somebody that's doing another minor subdivision, a subsequent minor subdivision, to be reviewed as a first minor.
Correct.
If the tracts were
Correct.
5 or less.
If that includes family transfer tracts?
Yes.
So do we need to say that?
No, this does.
Does it say it already?
Yeah.
Am I not just?
The second one, it says one parcel created through exemption.
Oh, okay, thank
And then
you.
the first minor subdivision.
Gotcha.
So essentially, Madam Chair, our regulations are slightly contradictory as is. So my proposal is to eliminate 3BA. If you choose to not eliminate that, that's fine, but then I would request that you eliminate the graphic on the following page, because the graphic and 3BA are contradictory.
I like graphics. I think they're helpful. Pictures are good. So I would be in favor of eliminating A.
I am too.
I am too, but I have just stay with the theme, I have a bit of a Debbie Downer moment.
Oh, you're doing so well.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
This was not posted online. This was not part of our previous conversation. I completely agree. I think it's pretty simple. But I think this needs to be, that one item needs to be on an agenda.
Madam Chair, can I offer a suggestion?
Sure.
Because I agree with you 100%. I knew that when I was presenting this today, that it is part of the agenda as in its subdivision amendments, but it is not affording the public the right to participate and comment in my proposed amendment because they are just now receiving it. My proposal would be, as are you, that's right. My proposal would be to allow me to take all of this information that we have compiled today and come up with an April 2026 proposed amended subdivision regulations, post them online, give them to you. The public has 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks. Come back. There's no rush to approve this.
Right.
And then come back and make the motion as one comprehensive document, or make amendments as you see fit after 2 weeks worth of time. But there will be no further follow-up pages, no further amendments. I'm going to post the red line amendments with all of these amendments that I've captured today. Based on the discussion, even though it's not a motion, I'm going to post them online, and that's why I'm going to post them as April 2026 proposed subdivision regulation.
Still draft.
Still draft. And then you can make your motion in 2 weeks.
You guys good with that?
Yep.
I know we did a lot today.
Yeah, we did.
We did a lot last week.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'm not comfortable just because this wasn't, so I like your idea.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I did not at all intend for you to vote on this proposed amendment today. I just want to get it before you in the public.
Okay. So we would shoot for this on the 29th?
No,
15th?
15th. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
15th.
I was thinking you were giving like an additional 2 weeks.
No, I'm sorry.
we'll have 2
2
weeks.
weeks. 2
Oh.
weeks from today.
Thank you.
Because I can quite rapidly make those amendments today and get them to Daleen to post.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I have to go. May I be excused?
You-
Or do
you may
need
be
me for
excused.
anything else?
And I'm kind of wondering if we should take a 10-minute break.
Well, we're about done, right? Aren't we almost
Yes.
done? Okay.
Yes. I can't find my agenda, I'll be honest. Oh, it's somewhere in
It's buried.
this. But,
I have one more for the subdivision regs
what?
that we talked about last week.
You're fine.
Or,
Yeah.
was it last week? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Ready?
Go.
Sorry. Page 97.
You're shooting surprises on me.
It's number, or section 9C1B9. We talked about this last week of just rewording that to reflect MCA.
I'm sorry, where are you again?
Page 97, 98. I don't know.
Going,
I don't know what
going
page I'm
twice. I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's page 98, I think, of the amended ones. It's section 9C1B9. So it's just, I don't know, I have the MCA here somewhere. So MCA says immediate family member or spouse of an immediate family member who receives a division of land pursuant to subsection 1B or 2B may not transfer or otherwise convey the division of land for a period of up to 2 years after the date of division unless the governing body sets a period of less than 2 years. So it just kind of clarifies that section a little bit more, that it is the family member who receives it that is restricted to the 2-year period. And I didn't realize that it was left off of this till this morning.
Oh, okay.
When I was going through it to talk to Nicole again. So that's why.
You're saying you want to keep it the way it is?
No, I want
I'm
to
gonna
change it to
change
what
it to
MCA
MCA.
states.
To what MCA? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more surprises?
I wish I had one.
No. So if I understand your suggestion, we are not going to make a motion today. You're going to get this all bundled up, and we will review it April 15th.
Madam
And
Chair,
decide,
I'm sorry,
hopefully.
if I may respond. Yeah, yes, ma'am, that would be my request if possible.
That's a very good idea.
I like that.
Since,
I like it.
have it written, typed out on the website, prepared, and we still have an opportunity to decide, change our minds or add something.
Great.
Seeing that there's not a motion, but Mr. Hahn has sat here all day with us, with the reporter. Chuck, would you like to make comments now or April 15th?
I'd like to make one comment. But
Please.
I forgot to state my name the last time,
I
so.
think we know.
In case you don't know me, Chuck Hahn, H-A-H-N. You guys are aware of the January 27th Supreme Court decision on Sapphire Coalition versus Ravalli County. In that decision, they determined that the public needs to know when one of these requests for exemption comes up. And so I propose that you also need to amend these regulations to say that at the time that they're presented to the planning staff, that they be also noted as online so that the public has the right to see them at the same time and make comment.
Nicole and I did discuss that this morning. Do you want to share our thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chairman Randolph. So the exemption requests are actually posted online before the commission meeting. I do not think it's prudent to post them before the COS review committee reviews them, because the COS review committee is reviewing it for accuracy and completeness. So what would be posted online could be a completely inaccurate document. And quite frankly, I don't think the public wants to be viewing documents that may be erroneous, inaccurate, or incomplete. You would like to see what is being deemed complete by the county, similar to a subdivision application. So when I receive a subdivision application, I don't post it online until it's deemed complete. So when that application first comes into the COS review committee, that's just the initial look. That's not being deemed complete. So all of that to say, they are posted online once they're deemed complete.
Okay, I guess, of course, this is me reading the law. To me, it indicated that the public should have access to it at the same time the review committee does, because then they can also be a set of eyes looking at it, saying that, you know, we see this or we know this. And I keep relating back to this Koblenz exemption request, because that's the one we're really familiar with that we've recently done. And as I've said before, I don't think the governing body would have known to look for the things that I brought up to you guys unless we would have had a notice, you know, and prior notice is really better, because then we can help make a comment to the governing body ahead of time and maybe not get into that situation with Koblenz's, because it's like Commissioner Rickmeyer had said in the Koblenz deal, if they'd have just come forward with a subdivision request, it would have saved a lot of time for them and a lot of work for the governing body. So the public is really, really important in this determination of whether an application is complete, whether there are some problems with it or anything like that. So I think the earlier that we are entitled to get into the process, the better it is. So that would be my comment.
We'll review that information. I know what you're talking about, the Brevard Valley County.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with Director Brown. When we get that, it's a draft, and I know what you're saying. The earlier, the better.
Yeah.
But we still give plenty of notice to the public. So, as you just saw, I'm all
Yeah,
about public
because right
notice.
now our first notice is when we see it noted in the commissioner agenda, and that doesn't give a lot of time to look at it.
I mean, that's really when we first get to look at it too.
Yeah.
To be honest, because the COS review committee meets, then it comes to the commission in full, right? So we're seeing it at the same time that it's like, okay, this has been reviewed by the COS committee. You can go online and we see it. I mean, we could find a different way to, we discussed finding a way to post it online. I thought we did.
We do.
Other than the agenda.
You do, but it's only a week ahead of time.
My thought is there's ways we could do that, to post it at the same time once it's been reviewed by the COS committee. But again, it's about the same amount of time that we get as it is on the agenda. It is the same amount of time. As soon as it's reviewed, it comes to us.
Maybe I'm reading the decision wrong, but by the decision, I believe that the Supreme Court said that the county, or that the public has the right to look at those documents at the same time that the review committee would be looking at.
And that's what we need to go back and look at the.
Yeah, we check
the language.
Probably have a county attorney weigh in on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll talk to Kevin. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Because the public is still getting to see.
Yeah, absolutely, everything we do.
comment,
I mean,
yeah.
that was a silly little, not a silly little addition that you did. I didn't mean that. But it's.
I didn't know you were talking about me.
She's so positive. So
Right?
there you go.
Positive Peggy over there.
Jeez. But even as simple and understandable as that was, it wasn't. So I understand Mr. Hahn's point, and we need to look into that. Guess what? We're at claims. Whew. We do not have minutes to approve today, so we just have two sets of claims. The first one is $15,573.40. The second one is $570.90. That's it.
That's so small. I move to approve the claims in set amount.
I will second that.
Any public comment? Is there any public comment? There's a motion and a second to approve the claims in the stated amount. Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. We're going to adjourn at 12:08.
Thank you, commissioners.
And there, oh, well, never mind, we're adjourned.